Okay, so I wanted to start with this. So this is our tour, our Publicis Group CEO Chairman. We recently released our first quarter results. And following the results during his interviews, there were some particular phrases, and they got mentioned here as well during earlier presentations, that he kept talking about. Reconfiguration of our industry model, the old agency model is dead. Essentially everything that ultimately combined into saying, guys, we need to be breaking the mold. And that's what we see as well as Publicis Group, especially, and Publicis Media, coming from our clients. So as our clients' needs are changing, their consumers are evolving, they expect us to essentially be strategic partners in that journey towards the growth and evolvement rather than just being a pure media agency. And we at Publicis Group are actually driving ourselves towards that. The way we see that happening is essentially, in the first instance, breaking down silos. So what I mean by breaking down silos is people. So I believe all of you will have potentially heard of the Power of One from Publicis Group. So that's what we did. We recognized that our clients are looking towards us as, I've got a business problem, I've got a business challenge that I need a solution for, and I don't want to be, just because you are a massive, massive group, I don't want to go to the individual parts of you, going to Sapient here, going to Zenith there, going to Starcom for something else, and then trying to find out the best analytics department within your individual brands. I don't want that. I have a problem, just find me a solution and find me the best people to do that. That's all I care about. And it's in light of that, that what we've recognized as the forward-looking agency or the forward-looking strategic partners for our clients is that there are three cornerstones or pillars to this proposition. And that's ultimately data, technology, and content. And it's the unification of this that will drive, as we see, the future of our clients and therefore the industry in general. And again, it's that, in order to drive that unification, is where we see our people. And that's where we see ourselves as data sciences as well. So as data sciences, like I said, we are a specialist practice within the Publicis Media, and following the whole Power of One, we now actually service across the board as a result. Going back to the point that I made just now, in terms of clients looking for business solutions, particularly as data sciences practice, what we're finding is they are increasingly looking towards solutions that are led by artificial intelligence and a variety of facets within that. Now, artificial intelligence in itself has huge array of techniques. It can be right from your evolutionary algorithms, your virtual assistants, your NLPs, your chatbots, all of these fall within artificial intelligence. What we have done is we've recognized this one really important thing. Not a new news. The key thing is, this is just an example of a consumer journey. And what we find today as, again, the business is transformed. The landscape is transforming very much towards digital, towards programmatic. I mean, this session is a really good example where we are now talking about programmatic TV, addressable TV. It's all about addressable and programmatic increasingly. And as soon as you talk about consumer journey in that context, almost every touch point in that journey is in one way or the other influenced or interacting with some form of artificial intelligence. So whether that's when I'm searching for what I want and therefore being recommended the best next dress that I'm looking for, or whether after that when I actually go to the store, my mobile geolocation identifies that I'm the same person who had an interest in a dress. I was looking for it online, and therefore, since I am in New Look, I should be maybe shown the new party dress. It's all across the board. So what we have done is, the key thing being, whereas all of this exists, they still exist in isolation. So almost all of these applications, in majority of the cases, are either being powered by different technological solutions, different platforms. The key part is bringing it all together to have a seamless consumer journey. The more efficient your consumer's experience is overall, that's what's going to drive your conversions at the end of the day. And again, thinking back also to today's topic about addressable TV. You're making it more personal, making it more addressable, and therefore more engaging as far as your consumer journey is concerned. So what we've basically said is, okay, of these variety of artificial intelligence-led technologies or techniques, they can be merged together into different ways. We've identified 3 key categories the way we look at it. Looking at it from the point of view of comprehension, so that's your language, your knowledge. Senses, so that's where your image recognition and your voice or speech recognition comes into play, and ultimately looking at machine learning and inference systems. Fine, they're all fine. What we are driving through Optimum that Alex has been mentioning, we don't have a demo here, by the way, considering the time constraints, but if anyone's interested, curious, come and see us afterwards, and we can do that. But the key part or the key premise of Optimum is that these are 3 key tenets of your consumer-centric media planning, consumer-centric strategic planning, irrespective of which way you look at it. And these 3 ultimately need to blend together. So let me give you an example. Machine learning, everybody knows about attribution modeling, right? Attribution modeling from the point of view of whether it's digital, but the best part is now with the idea of addressable TV and every other, even linear TV, we're able to fuse those things together. So you're now looking at a proper fusion attribution modeling so that you know, as a lot of other speakers have said before me, TV actually does have influence even on digital activity. Often TV is the first point of contact in driving that mass awareness, followed by me getting curious, going and looking on a website. I might actually go and look for reviews on Amazon, who knows, before I convert. So that's your fusion model right there. We've also successfully looked at content and feature extraction. So when you're looking at a piece of content, whether it's a TV creative, whether it's an image, whether it's a text, we are able to disintegrate that into individual elements. That's very important because then you are able to start matching or combining those 2 things together to identify which piece of content is actually driving my conversion or whatever my goal is. If my goal is actually to drive the highest amount of awareness, which of those seems to be driving that? That's where you start merging those 2 elements together now. And the final bit when it comes to comprehension, language, knowledge, that's further supported by recommendation engines. So we are now increasingly actually developing recommendation engines for our clients and for our brands. These engines recommend anything from, the key example being perfumes. So we have a recommendation engine that actually is supported by machine learning that looks at you as an individual and gives you the perfume choices that you're most likely to actually go for. Some of you will probably say, okay, well, what's exactly new about that? Well, the key thing is traditional fragrance finders or recommendation engines that you'd see will be based on decision trees. Whereas this one actually recognizes that it needs to learn. Just because user 1 saw the same 5 fragrances and didn't like it doesn't mean I should be showing the same 5 fragrances to the second user. Actually, I shouldn't be. So those are the kind of challenges we are getting. And within Optimum, we are actually viewing all of these things coming together. So going back, if I can actually, I don't know, go back. Going back to this journey, of course, with GDPR, we're looking at consumers giving their consent. But that's the best part. Now, these are people who are actually inputting or, flagging in. They are agreeing for you to give them or address them with advertising that's most relevant to them. And that's where we say, this is where all these different technologies need to come together. And that's what we see ourselves as the group, as Publicis Media, that we're not here just to address individual elements of it, but actually do all of it together. The other key element of this, and this is particularly important from a data sciences perspective, as we see, is transparency. Often artificial intelligence is looked at as, okay, it's pretty cool, it does something, but it's a massive black box. what we are saying is we're not just selling or solving technology. We're not just technology providers. Any and every solution that we devise is fully transparent for our clients, and that we're seeing is increasingly important, and clients actually value that. This transparency can be in the form of absolute granular forensic reports. So I've got a little example on the side. I haven't got that into individual, let's say placement, keyword, all of those. But this is just a very quick example where we actually showcased to our client as to towards their particular KPI. What was the contribution from all sorts of external factors? What was the contribution of their own assets? So whoever has worked into analytics or increasingly looks at analytics will know that owned assets play a massive, massive role in actually driving that consumer journey. So, and paid actually influences owned before it influences earned and leads to conversions. So we've seen that. We've seen the impact of content. So what is the actual impact of individual features? How much does having a white background when doing a spring-summer collection help driving conversions versus having an actual Christmassy kind of background because you are looking to sell the winter season or Christmas party or New Year's party clothes? We can do that. Obviously, we can look at the traditional media impact, whether it's from an offline or online perspective, doesn't matter. And the final thing is, the key value that we got out of that was the fact that now clients, since they can see this transparently, they're willing to share their first-party data with us because they see value coming from this. So when I say first-party data, I'm talking about things like price sensitivity from insurance companies. That never comes through because they see us driving value there. So that's literally the final point, and that's it. Thank you very much.